Hello everyone. It's been a while. It's been some time, but I'm back. And today I want to speak about 7 lessons I've learned at 25. And let's get straight into the lessons. Lesson number one is that time does not change life, decisions do. I heard this from when I was going through a lot of planning in my life. It was around when I was completing campus, and after that, I was doing a lot of. I have like a million of ideas, but all I do is just planning them, you know, and overthinking and just trying to wait for the right time. But then time does not change your life. It's the moment that you sit down and say enough, and then you make a decision. Maybe you make a decision to start, you make a decision to, you know, get that thing going like that. And so, lesson number one I've learned over this 25 years of my life is that you just have to make a decision, and you, at the most convenient time possible, which is usually now, just do it now. And then all the other changes, all the other quick updates to the decision can be made along the way. But waiting, no, 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 it's not going to help. So that's lesson number one. Lesson number two, wanting is not enough. You must pay the price. Oh, this is big. This is really big. A lot of us were through over and over again. We want things, we want change, we want to get that job, we want to buy maybe a car, we want to live good. But there's a difference between wanting and uh, actually getting the thing. And actually getting what you want, you must pay the price. And I think the difference, or the what now, the point when you actually realize that you have and must pay the price is the point when you will sit down and make, or try to understand the price that is required for you to get what you want. And so this has been big. This has been so big in my life after realizing that everything that I want has a price. I remember back in primary school when I wanted to score good marks. I wanted to score 360 in my mind. And the price to that was waking up every day earlier than anybody and going to that local village school very early in the morning. No electricity, no nothing. Um, with There was lights, we call them daylights, and sometimes a torch. And then we'll just start reading and reading. And when people start showing up in the morning, 7, at 8, I already did something, and I was not alone. And we made that sacrifice with a few friends, and we all did well. And so 10 years ago up to now, when I want something, I get into the zone of trying to understand the price that I have to pay for me to get that. And I think most people miss this. Most people just want things. We admire people that are successful, people that have things that that we would like to have, but we don't bother to question the price that they paid. But if we can just sit down and just understand, not even do it first, but just try to understand the price first, then we can make a decision on whether or not we really want these things. Because some people want to become billionaires, and Billionaires, if you want, or if you study the price that they pay, sometimes you find that they did some terrible things. They are corrupt. Sometimes you find that they are good people, but they had to sleep 2 hours every day. And then now you get to a point where you have to decide whether you're going to become a bad person, a corrupt individual, or you're going to work like you never seen before. But there's a price. Let me stop there. On to the point number three, or the lesson number three, which is fear sounds like logic, not panic. When I look at my past actions, for instance, at times, like I was saying, I was doing a lot of overthinking, a lot of planning, and that you're thinking, you think you know much, you think you're planning, you think you're not ready, and you frame it as logic, you frame it as preparation. But in real times, that is fear that is holding you back. What you're supposed to do is just hit the action button, hit the start button, and start the thing. And so I've learned that fear comes out as logic, as if we are just preparing, as if we are just waiting for the right time. But it is fear. But unfortunately, we can't get rid of fear. We've heard this top people say that there's no such thing as lack of fear. It's just courage, which they define that it is the act of doing something despite having fear. And so the earlier we act, the better we act fast. That is better. And so that's my third point. Lesson number four: comfort is expensive. It just hides the cost, right? Remember, we said there is a cost, there is a price that we have to pay. And every time we skip or we postpone this uh, payment, it is usually comfort that we replace that payment with. So you see, like for instance, last year I made a decision. I decided to pay a price of getting rid of unemployment, and the price of me not tamarking, not going home after campus and starting to apply jobs and hoping for employment. The price of eliminating that was just instantly packing my everything and going to Nairobi and renting or live there, and then starting to learn the skills that are required for me to get hired or for me to start. And so the point I'm trying to say is that if I decided to stay at home, if I decided to just spend more time at home with my parents, with my neighbors, like that, that is comfort, and that is the postponement of the price that that should be made. The price, which is that I have to go suffer, I have to go learn in the city for a few months or years, and then I'm now ready to get hired to get that job. And so we usually think being comfortable and waiting for the right time is cheap, or we think it's safe. But for some of us, I'm 25, anyone below this age who prefers to be safe is actually opting for an expensive option. I usually recommend people out of campus, out of high school, to try new things that are of high risk, that are not comfortable, because those are cheaper. You get to learn a lot of things. You get to experience a lot of things and get new lessons. But when we opt for safety, when we safety now is the comfort, then it is expensive. And with time, you'll get to realize that. And so, yeah, so that's the lesson number 4. Lesson number 5: the system is unfair, but responsibility is still yours. This is why I don't like politics, because we we try to frame it as, we frame these politicians and give them the power to control our lives, to help us. But the system, if we depend on them, then the reality is the system is just not fair. And we can sit down and complain about it. We can sit down and start blaming the leaders not giving us jobs, for not giving us, the health, the resources, everything that we expect from them. But for the past years of my life, what I've realized is that responsibility is just mine. Everything about me, everything, the life I had, the family, everything around me is my responsibility. It is my responsibility. It could be my father's fault that we are, poor, we don't have the wealth or things like that, but it is my responsibility. I don't get to complain. I don't get to, you know, to say, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Because the system is not fair. Some families are going to be ahead. Some families are going to be born in the city, in the up, in the other first world countries. Some are going to be born in the royal families. And then for me and you, for some of us, we are going to find ourselves in the villages, in the poor backgrounds. The difference comes when we sit down and decide that yes, it is not our fault, but it is our responsibility. And when you say that, then the power, the root power, belongs now to you. No one is now controlling you because it's your responsibility. But when you blame your government, for instance, then it means you give the power to the government. You're depending on it to make a change for you. And that's a dream that's not gonna happen. Lesson number 6: privilege is not luck, it is responsibility. This lessons comes from the fact that I was privileged to be uh, to go all the way to campus, university, and complete of all my family members or siblings. So I'm the most privileged one, and I came to learn that this is a responsibility. I don't just use this. I don't get all that privilege to learn a lot of things, unlike my siblings, and then come to say I'm lucky. No, no, no. It's a responsibility that I have to sit down and know what is expected of me and use it for good. And so it's not luck. When you're privileged, when you have money, that's why I usually look at these people, rich people, wealthy people. Some of them have a lot of money, a lot of resources. And so it's not luck for them, it's a responsibility. They have power now to change a lot of things, to change the way we live, to change the way we look at the world. And so for me, I've learned this lesson. This lesson entirely came from just the way I looked at my family and found that I'm the most privileged, and so exposure to me, but for knowledge, for education, I think I'm more exposed. and it is a responsibility that I'll use it well. Let's focus on the lesson number 7, the last lesson, which is purpose makes pain bearable. Pain in this life is a constant. Whatever you do, whatever direction you choose in this life, pain is there. Pain is a constant. We can't escape that. We cannot eliminate that. Uh, and I cannot stress it enough. So the lesson here is that we have to find the purpose to live for. Uh, we have to find the one direction that we are willing to suffer for. We have to discover that journey that we're willing to go all in and suffer. And then that is our purpose. And so when we have like a purpose, when we want to get ourselves maybe out of poverty and we know exactly why we're doing something, then no matter the pain, it is bearable, right? And so, yeah, that concludes the lessons I've learned at 25. But of course, that's just like a brief overview of the lessons. There's a lot of lessons. There's a lot of things to talk about. We can sit here for a lot of time, for hours, but uh, for today, let's call it an episode, and I will see you next time.